Hello, reporter room investigators. Come on in, come on in, come on in. Today we're going to be doing a deep dive and chatting about the Megan Bosworth trial. So, we're going to be deep diving into the case of what really happened to Evelyn. Megan is facing over 18 charges for doing away with Evelyn May Boswell. Megan is pleading not guilty. And Evelyn disappeared back in December of 2019. She wasn't reported missing, however, until February of 2020, and she was reported missing by her grandfather. Her remains were found in a garbage can in a shed, kind of a playhouse that belonged to Megan's grandfather. And Megan is currently on trial. She is innocent until proven guilty. Now, many people are comparing Megan Boswell to Casey Anthony because of all the lying. Now, Casey was found not guilty. So, will Megan also be found not guilty? She's also been compared with Susan Smith, who put her two young boys into the back of her vehicle. She strapped them into her car seats. She rolled the car into a local body of water and watched her boys go underneath, and then ran back and claimed that she had been carjacked and that the carjacker was a black male. Um, some people have compared this to Leilani Simon because she took Quentin and put him in the garbage. And we all remember the weeks and weeks we watched law enforcement searching through the trash. My name is Jessica Della Davies. I'm an investigative journalist, and my job is to investigate crimes, crime scenes, and potential suspects and share with you how to do the same thing. If you haven't subscribed to Reporter Room, please do. Let me pull this. Like, share, leave a comment, and let's dig into this case together. So we're going to be going through day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, and today, which was day 5. And we're going to be also doing a deep dive into a lot of the information. I'm going to do a very brief overview um, because I just think that some people may not be familiar with the case. Other people may be watching this today because they don't want to watch 5.5 to 8.5 hours of trial every day. So let's talk about Evelyn first. So Evelyn was reported missing on February 20th by her grandfather, whose name is Tommy Boswell. He told law enforcement that he had not seen Evelyn since December of 2019. So an Amber Alert was sent out in search of Evelyn, and this launched a multi-state investigation, and there was a thorough search to try to find Evelyn. Now, Megan Boswell sat, and we're going to watch a little bit of her and how well and how easily she lies. She told law enforcement that Evelyn was with her dad. She said that Evelyn was with her mom. Every time law enforcement would prove that one thing wasn't true, because they would have to go check out to try to find Evelyn. Some people have compared uh, Megan to Letitia Stock and even Lori Vallow Daybell. So this does remind me a lot of the Casey Anthony case, and it kind of makes me wonder a little bit about the JonBenet Ramsey case, because I think, I've always wondered if that was an intruder, because I just can't imagine a family member would do something like this until, another case like what happened to Evelyn comes up again. So Casey Anthony was found not guilty. I just want to put that out there. But the parallels are very, very interesting. How easily she lies. Casey was found guilty of lying to law enforcement. So I think Megan Boswell is a very, very good liar. So 6 days after issuing the Amber Alert, TBI announced on February 25th, this was back in 2020, that Megan Boswell had been taken into custody, and she was initially charged with false reporting. And I think this was so law enforcement could keep her in jail so she couldn't move Evelyn. They just needed to find Evelyn. So Evelyn was still missing when she was initially charged. with lying. And Megan had just a $25,000 bond, but even her family was not going to help bail her out. So many lies. She told law enforcement that Evelyn was with her father, Ethan Perry. Then she said that she was with her mother, Angela Boswell. Then she said her grandmother had Evelyn and was refusing to give her back to Megan. Next, Megan claimed that Angela gave Evelyn to an unnamed person and Evelyn was safe and would have a better life with that person. So you could just see how elaborate her lies were and how she just continued to lie to law enforcement time after time after time. And when one lie did not work for Megan, she simply fabricated a different story. In my opinion, allegedly, she has not been found guilty yet. So law enforcement looked for Evelyn. They searched the Boswell family compound. Now they live in a compound of like around 11 acres, and it has housing on there, including a trailer, a mobile home, and I will show you a little bit of that too. So they have different types of housing on this 11 acres. They didn't turn up anything on the initial search, but Megan's dad, who was Evelyn's grandfather, called law enforcement back because he thought of another place that Megan might have put Evelyn, and that was her playhouse. Some people are referring to this as a shed. So I don't know what made him think of this and why this part of the property wasn't searched initially. It may not have been part of what their search warrant included, or maybe they didn't know about this structure. But because this property does have multiple structures. So on March 2nd of 2020, Megan Boswell appeared before the judge. She was formally charged with false reporting of a crime. She was denied her request to lower her bond from $25,000 to $10,000 because law enforcement could not afford to have her out of jail, because while they're searching for Evelyn, she could be moving her again. Sadly, after 17 days in early March, law enforcement did find Evelyn. I'm going to make this G-rated, so I'm going to watch my words here. They found her inside the playhouse. She was placed or thrown into a trash can. She was upside down. She had tinfoil around her head and a blanket around that. I'm watching my words here, and I'm going to keep this G-rated in case you have little ones in the room. Law enforcement said that Evelyn's remains were dressed in the same clothes that Megan had said she was wearing when she was reported missing. So I don't understand how Megan could just throw away Evelyn like this. But we know this is not the first time that this has happened. And sadly, it will probably not be the last time that this has happened. So Megan was subsequently charged with doing away with Evelyn. And Dr. Darinka Polchan spoke that day, saying that Evelyn's cause of unaliving, watching my words, was asphyxia in 4 places. And I'm not going to go into any graphic detail. I will go into more detail about it on Patreon and for a members only post that I will do later this week. So on day 1, prosecutors told the jury that defendant Megan Boswell did away with Evelyn. And so let's watch this together. We're going to be watching different recaps so that you guys don't have to watch the whole thing. So let me grab this. Let me take this down for just a second. I have multiple packages to share with you guys. Let me move myself out of the way and present this instead. Okay, so a trigger warning for those of you.
Was a bright, growing little girl, full of life, healthy, learning to walk, learning to talk, doing all the things that a 12-month-old child would do. Which means today, 5 years later, Evelyn Boswell would be 6 years old. She would be possibly in kindergarten, learning to read, maybe taking her first ballet class or her first soccer game, learning to tie her shoes, all of the things that we think of that are firsts for 6-year-old children. But based upon the last 2 days of our jury selection, we all know that Evelyn Boswell is not going to do any of those things. We all know that all of that was taken away from her in December of 2019 by the defendant, Megan Boswell.
So Megan is now 24 years old. She was a teen mother. She's been charged with felony M, aggravated child A. So she's facing multiple charges, and the prosecution is seeking life in prison without the possibility of parole. We know Casey Anthony was found not guilty. In contrast, Lori Vallow Daybell was found guilty. Susan Smith pled it out. She's in jail. She's been trying, but she's eligible for parole now, so she's been trying to get out. So it'll be interesting to see what law enforcement does with this case. Let's go to the next one. So the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations. Let me just let this come up and then I'll pause it. Let me grab it. Okay. So we're going to look together at the photos that show where Evelyn was found. But before we do, I just want to go through a couple of things. This case is just really sad. It really is. But we are going to discuss it in a way that, yeah, she could have easily been adopted. Let me see where we are. Let me say hello to chat too. I don't want to get too far away from everything. And we're going to be here for a little bit because there is a lot of stuff to dig into. Hey, Njaz. So this is our head mod, Njaz. And if you guys are, this is Brother Mike. He's one of our admins along with Njaz and some other great people too in our Facebook group. If you want to join the Reporter Room Facebook group, you can. Thank you so much, Brother Mike, for the super sticker. I really appreciate it. Welcome, everyone. I think it's going to be a quieter live stream because I do think that, hey, Angie. Hey, Christine. But I still want to go through this. I still want to go through this together. Hi, DM. So come on in. I think it's going to be a quieter live stream. I do think this has been kind of a hard case for people to follow, and some people just aren't that aware of this case. So yeah, Mike says he didn't follow this case at all. Yeah, give it a thumbs up. Let YouTube know this is a G-rated show. So you guys don't have to worry. And thank you so much, Njaz, for gifting a Reporter Room membership. If you got that membership, let me know in the comment section below. Yeah, so come on in and come talk to me about this. So let's go ahead and go through. We're going to look at the photos. So Tennessee Bureau of Investigation Special Agent Brian Frailer Sr., he was the lead investigator on the case. He described the search for Evelyn. He described finding her in Megan's former playhouse. But let's show the photos of where Evelyn was found so that you guys can see. Let me know if you cannot hear
Yard
it.
barn, if you will, was a playhouse, and it's noted playhouse ROE. ROE is an acronym for us for recovery of evidence, which was the body of Evelyn Boswell. Up in the right-hand corner is my notes are like a key to this, which indicates the date, our case number, the location, and my signature with the date, notating that I was the one that drew this sketch.
Agent Fraley, you've got the driveway shown through the middle part of that diagram there. Was there any sort of gate or anything that, as far as being able to enter or exit the property?
I recall, I think there was a gate at the bottom from Muddy Creek Road to the driveway.
All right. Okay.
So we're looking at pictures that were shown on day one to just catch everybody up. This is audio. It's from
Now,
Court TV.
Agent Fraley, you identified an outbuilding that was there on the property. You had said that's where you went first.
That's correct.
Okay. And I guess tell us what you found or what you observed when you went to that outbuilding.
What was found there were multiple boxes of belongings of Megan Boswell that contained a variety of items specific to a young child. I recall there were clothing items, diapers, medicines, toys, those kind of things were the most common thing in those boxes.
You can almost see the heartbreak if you look, even at the corner of his mouth turned down from Senior Special Agent Brian Fraley. I think this had to have been one of the most heartbreaking things to just see this child discarded in the trash.
Agent Fraley, I'm going to show you 3 photographs and ask you if you can identify what's shown in those.
So the first one is the yard barn or shed that was described and depicted in the sketch. The home there to the right was, our understanding, Tommy's mother. The second, that's the first one. The second.
And Tommy is Evelyn's grandfather, or was Evelyn's grandfather. It's Meg. So he's the one that reported. And he had given Megan a free place to live on the property with Evelyn.
Is the same yard barn or shed, except in this one it has a picture of the what we were describing as a playhouse behind it. And then the third and final one is a closer photograph of the yard barn or shed with those items I just described.
And do those photos?
If you're just joining us, we are covering the case of Megan Boswell. We are going through the photos of where Evelyn was found and how she was found.
Accurately show how that shed or outbuilding looked when you arrived there on March the 6th, 2020.
Yes, sir, it does.
Judge, we would move to make those the next exhibits, which I think are 7, 8, and 9.
Any objection? No, sir. Will you full exhibit? How do you want to display those?
Well, I'll take another
Shot
at trying to use the laptop.
General, which order did you want these pictures marked?
Whatever.
I want them.
How is the audio for you guys? Let me just check in with chat. Is the audio okay? Put a thumbs up if the audio is good. Let me know if you need it turned up or turned down. Okay, let's see. How's the audio, guys? Oh, there's our other head mod, 6 Cents Amelia. Hi, Amelia. Good to see you. The audio is good. Okay, so this is our other head mod. And Josh, so we have both head mods. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue on. There's so much to go through. We're going to be here for a while, guys. But this is really important. We're doing a deep dive into the case. We're going to do highlights of, and I don't know if that's the right word, but highlights of the case. And then these are the photos of how Evelyn was found. Lets you into the mind of Megan Boswell.
The way to describe them. First one, the yard barn with the home. The second one is the yard barn with the playhouse behind it. The third one is the close up to the yard barn behind it.
So this has been described as a playhouse, but to me, it does read as a shed. So I'm not sure why this wasn't searched the first time, but there are a lot of buildings on the compound. So maybe they just looked in there, but didn't start taking everything out. I'm not really sure.
May I see those? Make sure you've got the big. All right, Agent Fraley, I've got up on the screen what's been introduced as Exhibit 7. If you would, tell the jury what they're looking at.
So this is the yard barn or shed that I was describing. This was the home that was described to us as Tommy Boswell's mother. And then the items there that you can see with the open door inside of the shed or yard barn.
And next is Exhibit 8.
Yes, sir. Again, the yard barn with the door open, showing those items described. And this building here behind the yard barn is what I described and is notated on my sketch as the playhouse where Evelyn's body was recovered.
Okay, so that clarifies that. I wasn't sure like what to make of this, but it does. So because I had read playhouse, but what we're looking at is the shed. So in the shed, they found items that belonged, it sounds, to Evelyn. So her mom just got rid of everything. And then there is this playhouse. So you can see why this may have been missed. But let's continue on.
And next, Exhibit 9.
Yeah, again, that's just a closer photograph of the yard barn or shed with those items I described placed inside there.
All right. Did you participate in, or I guess, what did you all do with the items that were that you saw located in that outbuilding there?
Those were obviously photographed and documented as what they were, processed.
All right. Did you participate in that process, or were you just?
Yeah, I think primarily the two inside there actually searching, going through the items was Special Agent David Gratz and Investigator Tracy Arras.
Okay. Was that the end of your investigation or what you did there on the property?
No, sir, it was not.
Okay. What did you all do next?
So we continued looking and led us to look inside the playhouse.
All right.
And we searched it.
I mean, his face says everything. The swallow, the corners of the mouth turned down. And we're going to watch another investigator today, from today, that testified in a few minutes. So please stay with me. But you can just see how hard this was on law enforcement.
And what did you find, if anything, upon looking in the playhouse?
There were, once the door was opened, right inside the door, as the opening of the door, was a trash can, like a tall kitchen model, common trash can, and 2 bags of trash beside of it.
Agent Fairley, I'm going to show you a number of photographs and ask you if you can identify what's shown in those.
Yes, sir. The first one I'm reviewing is a standalone picture of what I described as the playhouse that was okay. The second one is a closer of the playhouse, a closer proximity with the door open. The third picture is the same thing with the door open. Third one is a closer photograph with the door open. It does depict, the third one depicts the trash can with the bags of trash, as does the second one depicting the trash can. The first one, the door was closed. The next one depicting an open door with the trash bags and the trash can.
So he has to describe these, and so they can get them into evidence. Let me just fast forward through his description so we can get where they publish the photos. Oh, it's not letting me do that. No, it's sick of me. Okay, so coming up next, let me grab the next one. So we have a lot to go through. So that was Special Agent from the TBI, Tennessee Bureau of Investigations, Brian Fraley Sr. So on day 2 of the trial, also featured testimony from Megan's father. He's the one that reported Evelyn missing. It was his property that was searched. He said he had to have the trailer where he gave that to Megan and Evelyn to live in for free. He had said it was so dirty that there were dirty diapers literally stuck to the floor of the trailer. And the guy who cleaned the trailer had to wear a respiratory mask because the odor was so overwhelming. And when they opened the door, they were hit with rotten food smells. His dad said there was a dirty diaper stuck to the floor. So it seems like Evelyn had a very short and a very sad life. Let's take a look at Megan. And her interview with law enforcement. Let me grab it. And you guys, so let me just get this to the beginning. Let me know if the volume's okay.
You know, like this is the last day. If you I tell you where I think you all that. And look where we fell. Yeah, but don't we need to bring her on, man? Don't wait as long as it's gone too long. Okay, this is for your baby. This is to give her the proper and where she is. There's only 2 places I can make the where she is. Where she is. I think there's somewhere close. I think she's somewhere at Dad's house. At his house? Maybe somewhere like, you know, that like the dog store. I think she's either there or she's somewhere at Dad's. Or she's somewhere close. Underneath the dock at Hunter's. I don't know if she's underneath there. I'm just. Is that what you're trying to tell me? I'm not putting words in your mouth. That is just my theory. She has to be no, like no, I don't want to. We're not looking at theories, son. You need to bring her home. He said that she was somewhere close to the only 2 places I can think that he would take her. This is you're not honest with you. Okay, but you know this part. I don't know for sure. I'm trying to help you all. I swear I am at this point in time. This is the ending. Okay, let's bring her home. Let's bring her home. There's a bunch of places I think that he would even have time to take her. It was not very long. Well, regardless of time, there has to be a reason that you would know that. Okay, because that. He said she was somewhere close. In that time, there's only X amount of places she could be. Okay, but you're specifically narrowing down those 2 places. Right, do you know? Help me with this, Megan. When he took her out with the driver, how was she dressed? You know that picture I have of her? She's in her old penguin suit. She's in the penguin suit. She's wrapped up in her blanket.
And that is how they found her. She was found in the penguin onesie. She was wrapped up in.
Did you give her?
I see Megan. I don't see any tears. Really similar to Leilani Simon's affect, in my opinion.
To him,
Picked her up.
you picked her up, where was she?
On the bed.
On
I held her for hours. I didn't want to let her go.
And that's okay. We need to bring her home. Okay? We need to bring her home today. Just tell us where we can go get her.
I don't know for sure. I told you, or I think she's at.
Okay, hold on. You held her for hours.
Yeah.
She was in what? How was she dressed?
You have a picture of me and her. We're sitting outside the trailer, and she
Yes.
was calling and she has that little purple thing on.
Yes.
So she was sitting
And she was wrapped up in a blanket.
like a dark colored blanket, a thick fleece blanket.
And he took her from you? Where did he put her? What car was he driving?
I read the car.
The red car? Did he put her in the trunk?
I don't know. I didn't go out
Did
there.
you go outside with him?
It
What time of day was it?
was close to the dark.
Was it close to dark or was it
It was
dark?
close to the dark.
What day was it?
I don't know what day it was for sure, to be honest with you.
So in this interview, she implicates Evelyn's so-called father, although the paternity of Evelyn is in question. So when this doesn't work, she then implicates her own mother. And when that doesn't work, she implicates her own grandmother.
So, how long was he gone?
Less than an hour,
Was it 15 minutes or 30 minutes or 45 minutes?
maybe like 45. And he kept saying she's super close, Papa.
Did he ever take you back to where it was? Between then and now? And this was in December, early December. Was it after you started working at the
It was
chicken?
after summer.
How long after?
Not too long,
You started on Monday, right?
right?
Was it Tuesday?
No, it was a
Wednesday?
week or two after.
It was a week or two after.
Close to 2 weeks.
So about December 10th. What do you remember about that day? Did you wake up or what happened?
I don't know.
And this is Megan Boswell right here, watching herself lying to law enforcement.
I rolled over on her. I don't think I did. I think she did it. It was an accident.
So he was sleeping in bed with you? Was the three of y'all together? In the bed?
Between us.
Okay.
I should have put her just off outside. I slept in there almost every night of her life before that, and I never once rolled over on her.
But when you woke up, she wasn't breathing. Is that what you're telling us?
Her head was like buried in her pillow. She said,
What's really sad about all of these lies is each time she lied and it came out in the press, the people who, read about this, because she seems so sincere and she's such a good liar, then went after the man who was supposed to be Evelyn's dad, who now they're saying they don't even know if it was his dad, went after her mom. I mean, just harassing them because they think they stole the baby, just like what happened in the Casey Anthony case when she implicated Zanny the nanny. People went after a woman with the same name as what Casey Anthony gave because they thought she had stolen Kaylee because she's such a good liar. Same thing with Megan Boswell. Just going to watch a couple more minutes of this. I just want you to see how Megan is, and then we're going to go on to the next because we have tons to get through today.
Okay. So, there. So you tell him, hey,
I was panicking. He was like, well, you can't call anyone. We're both going to
why
go to
can't you
jail.
call someone
And he said we were both going to go to jail if he didn't care.
for her just rolling over, or you rolling over on him or on her?
I don't think I rolled over on her. I don't know if he did an accident or what. Like I said, I slept in there like her whole life before that. With her up against me right next to me. I never rolled over on her.
We need to
So in this version, she's claiming that she rolled over on her, but the coroner said that Evelyn was in the trash and she was alive with tinfoil on her face and a blanket. Yeah. All right, let's go to the next part. So Special Agent from TBI Fraley offered more detail about the condition in which he found Evelyn. Trigger warning here, guys. Let me grab this for you. So just giving you guys a trigger warning on this one.
Orders,
Oh,
if you
okay.
need that. After you had
Thank you.
removed the trash can from the building, or were you still in the building when you found the body?
Best I can remember, sir, was, like I said, we opened that door and we saw those items. Now we had the knowledge of, she had said that there was maybe to look for a trash can. So that alerted us. Red flag went off, if you will. That time, I think I removed some items on top of that and maybe moved the can. But like I said, once
Yeah, Casey Anthony she was found guilty of lying. That was the only thing she was found guilty of. And, a lot of people are worried the same thing could happen again. I think, when Casey Anthony's trial took place, people could not picture that a young mom could do something like this to their child. They just couldn't believe that she would do that. And it was easier to believe that her dad, George, did it, George Anthony, who I just feel like got maligned in that trial. But yeah, I just don't think, Sherry, that they could believe that a mother could do this. But we know now, we've seen it over and over and over. We now know that, yes, a mother can do this. So can a father. We saw that in the Harmony Montgomery case. So yeah, the whiny little sad voice. That's a great way to describe her. All right, let's continue on because we have so much to dig into. And let me know if you
felt the can,
you need
it
the
had
volume
some
up or
significant
down.
weight to it, more so than a regular trash can has household trash in it. Removed some items off the top of that, and then that's when I first saw the leg of Evelyn's body. Like I said, maybe replaced it or resituated.
So trigger warning here, guys. Trigger warning. If you want, I'll put up a 2 when we're done with this part, so you know to come back in.
Best I can, stopped what we were doing and made the appropriate phone calls.
So you say you replaced it.
Set it back, yes, close.
You set the trash can back in. Did you set the stuff back in the trash can that was on top of the body?
I don't recall putting those items back on top.
Okay, so you can see here, this is the trash can inside that playhouse. And this is where they found Evelyn. Upside down. The tinfoil covering her face and head, and a blanket covering that.
I think once those items were removed, and some of the items I remember specifically, there was a bread bag, an empty bread bag that was in that top portion of the trash. And I recall it having a September 2019 expiration date, which again alerted us that, hey, this wasn't there like the rest of that stuff I testified to was obvious to me. It had been there for years. And now you had these couple bags of trash in this can that looked out of place or looked more recent. And I think, after seeing that, opening that bread bag with that date, obviously that date gave us an idea that this was a window of time that was recent, that fit close to the proximity that Evelyn was reported missing.
Okay. So the black trash bag in Exhibit 17, it appears to be pressed down in the trash can. Is
Yes,
that correct?
Yes, sir.
So what the defense is trying to do, to try to, just like in the Casey Anthony case, they tried to, blame it on George Anthony. The defense is in this case, I don't know, maybe I'm like being too harsh, but let me just say that Hunter's name, who was somebody that Megan dated very briefly, and he's in the hospital. He has schizophrenia, which most people with schizophrenia don't hurt anybody, and schizophrenia it onsets usually. If you saw A Beautiful Mind, you saw that in that movie, with Russell Crowe that it onset while he was in college. And that's really common for them to not have any symptoms, not to have schizophrenia till they're in their late teens and early 20s. So he's hospitalized with that. And he's been kind of used as a scapegoat to be implicated by some people online, I guess. And, you know, in an effort to, you know, for Megan to get off, in my
At
opinion,
some point, you took it out of the trash.
allegedly.
Yes, sir. That was, as I best recall, that was the first thing removed from that can.
Okay, so come back if you were out. Let's do the next one. We're going to be going through highlights of this. So that's how they found her. You can see that they found bugs on Evelyn. There were leaves in her hair. So Tommy Boswell Sr., that's Megan's father and Evelyn's grandfather, took the stand, and he detailed Megan's lies and coming to realize that Evelyn was missing. We're going to watch that one now. Let me grab it. I feel really badly for this guy. Let me know if you cannot hear
What do
anything.
you mean? She
Well,
didn't pay no rent, no light bills. I mean, she didn't pay no bills. If
Okay.
that's what you're asking.
Okay, so you had a trailer out there and you let her go live there?
Yeah, and I paid all the bills.
Okay. Did she live there by herself or who lived there with her?
As far as I know, her and Evelyn.
Okay. Do you remember when this was that she moved into that trailer?
Goodness, no, I don't, sir.
Okay. Did you say,
All this stuff I've tried to put back in my brain and to want to forget it, and I'm trying my best to remember it. And
well, I appreciate that. Okay. So she and Evelyn, she and Evelyn.
No one else has been charged. This is such a good question. Was another person? Because I see people online speculating about Hunter. And, you know, the problem is that Hunter's in the hospital. His dad did have to get on the stand for him. He's in the hospital with schizophrenia. So he's been in the state hospital for the last couple of weeks. And that's really common with people with schizophrenia. They hallucinate. But again, most people with schizophrenia don't hurt other people. But is he in a mental place to be able to testify at the trial? And no. So he's kind of an easy one to scapegoat, and, you know, but from what we've heard so far, there's been no implication against anyone except Megan. And just so that's, you know, such a great question, Amelia. Yeah, we do see this all the time. Let's listen to Megan Boswell's dad. Tommy seems like the sweetest guy. He paid all her bills. He gave her a place to live with Megan.
When they're living in this trailer by themselves out on Sugar Hollow. Is that right?
Yes, speak up.
yes,
Okay.
So you checked your head, yes.
Okay. Are you okay?
yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. If you need a minute, let us know. Okay.
I'm good.
Okay. Did you ever go out and
Can you imagine being in this position? I mean, everybody's face that's testified that is like, have seen these photos of Evelyn and knows what Megan did. Can you imagine having to be the grandfather of Evelyn and to turn in Megan for this? And now he has to testify against his own daughter on behalf of his granddaughter. What an awful position to be put in as a parent and grandparent.
see Megan and Evelyn when they lived there at the trailer?
A few times.
Okay. Did you see the condition of the trailer, what it looked like?
Most of the time I'd stay outside. She'd come outside to be pretty because I'd look around, pick up garbage and stuff.
Okay. So
But a couple times I went in, but not that much.
okay. Did she have Evelyn with her?
Yeah.
When you were out there? Okay. So did there come a point in time at which you realized Megan was no longer living there in the trailer?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember when that was?
Nah, I don't remember the dates.
Did you do something as a result of the fact that Megan was no longer?
Oh, yeah, I told her, I said, if you're not going to live there, I said, you need to let us know. I said, we need to rent that.
And did you do something?
Yeah, I told her, I said, if you're going to live with Hunter, I said, you need to move your stuff out.
Okay. And did she do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have to clean it out or do anything to it before you could re-rent the trailer?
There's a guy
So Hunter is the one who's hospitalized with schizophrenia.
worked with us. He took care of the park, as you say. He got free rent, and he cleaned it up and done stuff like that and mowed. And
Well, do you remember what the condition of the trailer was when Megan moved out?
it was pretty dirty.
Okay. Did he have to do anything or did you have to pay to have anything done to the trailer to be able to re-rent it?
Oh yeah.
And what was that?
Just cleaned all the furniture and stuff out and cleaned it up, and they had to replace some of the floor, which was bad.
Okay. Did Megan leave anything behind in the trailer or, you know? Did she take her, well, let me ask you this way. Did she take all her stuff with her?
I didn't go through the trailer.
Okay. This guy that you hired.
He did, and I told him, I said, whatever's left. She said she didn't want it. And I said, there's a truck there, load it in the truck, take it to landfill. That's what we done. Whoever moved out, we clean them out. That's what we do.
So she left her father to clean up the mess that she left behind. And it was so bad. There was a diaper stuck to the carpeting, rotten food, and she left it for her dad to have to deal with it.
So you
This baby lived in filth, this child, Evelyn.
loaded up a bunch of stuff in a truck and hauled it off, or had this guy do that?
Yeah.
All right. Do you know where Megan was staying? You said she was no longer living
She's
in your
supposed to have
trailer.
been living with Hunter.
Okay. Was that Hunter Wood?
Yes, sir.
All right. Was that, as far as you know, was that her boyfriend at the time?
Yeah.
Okay. Had you met Hunter?
Not at that time, I don't think.
Okay. Do you remember when the first time that you met Hunter was?
Goodness. It was either when she come up Earth Angel to get my two little ones, or when we went to Gatlinburg for Christmas, or Pigeon Fords.
Okay. So you went with, well, let me ask you this. Who did you go to?
Hunter, my son, and his family, and me and my family, and Megan and Hunter went.
Okay. And when was that again?
That was the day after Christmas or the day before Christmas. I can't remember exactly.
All right. So it's around Christmas. You met Hunter.
Yeah.
Who was he there with Megan?
Yeah.
All right.
I could have met him before that and don't remember now. I don't want to lie to you, but that's the best of my knowledge.
Okay.
So how Megan got away with this was she told everybody that Evelyn was with her real dad. And her real dad, my understanding is that he was in the military. He had to like have his barracks searched because of her lie. So that just gives you kind of an overview of, I just want to just show you highlights because this is for people who don't, just don't have hours and hours to watch this, but also we're deep diving into this. So Austin Feller, he's a maintenance worker he's the one that cleaned out Megan Boswell's house after she left it for her dad to clean up after her. CPS supervisor James Lewis testified to the investigation into a report of lack of supervision and physical. Watching my words here, officers sent to Megan's house were told that Evelyn was with Evelyn's father, whose name is Ethan Perry. So all this time while they're like having celebrations with the family, and this is why, again, I don't think Hunter was involved. Hunter was a brand new boyfriend at this point. And he also, has schizophrenia, but Megan's telling them at this time that Evelyn is with Ethan Perry. And again, people went and harassed Ethan Perry because they believed her. Dr. Barbara Pugh, that's Evelyn's pediatrician, said that Megan brought in Evelyn for regular checkups until she was 9 months old. And then she wasn't seen after a sick visit at 10 and a half months. So she never showed up for her 1 year checkup. Let's watch the pediatrician next.
You had an opportunity to review Evelyn's chart.
Yes.
Okay. Did you note any concerns as far as her birth, pregnancy, anything like that prior to her coming on as a patient there at your office?
Well, the mother was a teen mother, and in pediatrics, we consider that of concern. So she was 17 at the time. The baby had group B strep. Mama was group B strep positive. So the baby got some antibiotics for a couple of days, but she went home at 2 days. She was small for gestational age, like 5 pounds and 6 ounces, I think it was. So she was small, but other than that, she was doing well.
All right. And did you all see her on a regular basis there at your office?
Yes, she came at for her physicals 2 weeks or 16 days is how she was. But she came for the second visit, and then 2, 4, 6, and 9 months.
And again, you said you had an opportunity to review her records. Anything stand out to you as far as health concerns during that first year?
No, I mean, the last time we saw her was for a sick visit. She was about 10 and a half months old. So that was her last visit in October of 2019. But her 2, 4, 6, 9 months visits, in 2 weeks, she was doing well.
Okay.
She had a few little odds and ends, but they're normal.
Okay.
No.
Developing normal like a
Yes,
a
she was
newborn.
growing well, and her developmental skills were very well. She was actually advanced at 9 months, talking some, and she was doing well.
Okay. So meeting normal milestones, nothing that would,
Yes.
as a pediatrician, would give you any sort of concern.
No, she was doing well.
Okay.
So tell me there wouldn't have been hundreds of families that would have lined up to adopt Evelyn if Megan had decided she had a new boyfriend and didn't want to be a mom anymore. Because it sounds like she was, I don't think the house was clean. I don't know if Evelyn was clean, but at least she was getting her to her doctor's appointment. She had a place to live. She, seemed to be doing okay with Evelyn that we know about. We don't know what was happening behind closed doors, but the child was meeting her milestones. She was healthy. She was a little small for her age, but that could be normal. And the doctor says she is normal. So I just wanted to but then she stops coming.
You aware that she had a visit scheduled for December the 5th, of 2019?
That probably would have been her 12. It should have been her 12-month checkup.
All right. And you learned that she failed to make that visit. Is that correct?
Yes, I think she had more than one. I think it may have been rescheduled, but I'm not sure. But she did have, because the front office takes care of that. But she did not come anymore after 10 and a half months.
All right. And obviously, as a pediatrician, it's important for you to see a child regularly during the early parts of her
Yes.
life, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
we have a,
Okay. So did that concern you when she did not show back up for her year visit?
well, yes, but in pediatrics, it's, sometimes people move, they change, so you don't always know as the doctor, you may not know
All right.
why they don't show up. But all you can do is call and try to find out and follow up.
Okay. All right.
So the doctor, was concerned, but maybe she moved. I mean, we don't know everything that's going on. So 2 of Megan Boswell's friends took the stand. They were still on day 2 to testify to her behavior when Evelyn disappeared. Audrey Gibbs described when Megan waited a long time to change Evelyn's diaper and did not buckle her into her car seat properly. Bailey Hawkins also testified. She said that Megan gave her multiple stories about where Evelyn was. And again, if Megan didn't have anything to do with this and it was somebody else, why would she be giving multiple stories to all of these different people about where Megan was? And then she became very, very emotional when she asked for Megan for photos of Evelyn. Let's watch.
Permission to publish, Your Honor. I'm trying to make this one a little bit bigger for the jurors.
So this is Bailey Hawkins. This is Megan's friend, and she clearly loved Evelyn.
Okay, so on December 14th at 1:09 p.m., what does Megan say to you?
I'm gonna go ahead and head your way. Take your time. I'm just sad without Evelyn, knowing what Ethan's done, and I hate going home, seeing her stuff there and not her, you know.
Okay, and how do you respond?
Okay, I just got out of the shower, but I need to get dressed and everything.
Okay, and what does Megan say?
It'll be a second before I'm there. Like I said, take your time. I'm just avoiding going home. Like I was fine before. It just hurts knowing I can't see her, then having to look at her stuff.
Okay. And then about 10 minutes later, what does she say to you?
You have Birch's here.
Okay, and then what do you say?
I'm sorry, I'm about to be ready.
Okay. Prior to this text conversation, had she told you where Evelyn was? Other than what we talked, has it changed at all?
During that time, all of it kind of morphs together, so I can't say for sure. But during that time, it was around the time that she said that Ethan had gotten emergency custody.
Okay. Did she say when she was going to be able to see Evelyn again?
She said that the court date was going to be in January of 2020.
Okay.
So if Megan thought that if Megan didn't do it, and somebody else did it, why would she be telling everybody all these fabricated, elaborate lies? So now she says that Ethan applied to get emergency custody, and she says that the reason for this is because Evelyn had a bruise on her head and had hurt her arm. That was the other one that she said.
Okay, so I'm assuming you're still getting ready while she's waiting for you. And then at 1:31 p.m., what does she say in response to you?
It's okay, take your time. Like I said, it's better than me being home.
Before we go further on that, did she ever indicate, other than what she said about not wanting to be there, about why she didn't want to be home at that time?
That was around the time that she was saying that she didn't want to see Evelyn's stuff because it made her sad.
Okay. Okay, so on December 14th at 8:09 p.m., what does Megan say to you?
I'm getting a hotel tonight. I don't want to go home. Would you stay with me tonight?
So this is what I think. I think that it could be that Evelyn was in the trash initially inside the house and that she got moved to the playhouse at a later date. That's just my theory. I don't know. Let me check in with chat though. This is, let me just say thank you so much to NJAZ for the $10 super sticker. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And Mike says, and NJAZ, that's great. Amelia says, thank you for giving an overview. To Alicia. Alicia says, we have many mothers who have done horrific things to their children. Yeah, it happens over and over and over. You know, and I think with Casey Anthony, we had not really seen a trial like that before. So we just couldn't imagine that somebody could do something like this. Because remember, Susan Smith didn't go to trial. She pled out. But we saw this with Chris Watts too, right? Just lie after lie after lie. When one didn't work. But he wasn't as good of a liar, in my opinion, as Megan is. DM says, in my opinion, the state of Florida overcharged Casey Anthony. They knew she did it, but couldn't prove it. Yeah, they had gone for the DP in the state of Florida, I believe. And they probably did overcharge her. The other thing I think that they had a big problem was with one of the prosecutors on the case. His name was Jeff. I think he gave off creeper vibes, and sure enough, later he was found to have had material, I'm going to watch my words, on his computer that he was indeed a creeper. Yeah, it is okay. I'm good. I'm glad the volume's okay. Yeah, it is hard to watch. That's why I'm not. I will tell you guys if there's anything, and I am providing you guys a G-rated version of overview because the trial is really, really hard to watch. So we're going to listen to her friend. This is Bailey Hawkins for just another minute, and then I have so much stuff to go through. We're still only on day 2, but we're going to start day 3 as soon as Bailey's done.
And then what do you say?
Can you not spend the night with Hunter?
And what does Megan say?
I just don't want to right now. Long story.
Okay. And then at 8:31 p.m., what does she say to you? Continuing essentially the same conversation.
Hunter is sweet and all, but I'm upset over Evelyn, and I just don't want to be all lovey-dovey, lovey and happy right now.
And then what do you say?
Yeah, I understand that you were happy to see him, but was it too much? What hotel are you at?
And what does Megan say?
I was excited to see him, but now I'm just like not in the mood.
And you'd asked her which hotel she was at, and what did she say?
Econo Lodge.
Okay. And then did she say, just read us the last two messages if you don't mind.
Well, like right now, he started hugging me and stuff, and I just have a lot on my mind. I don't want to be all like I think I upset him when I left, but I didn't mean to.
Okay.
Okay, so that is Megan Boswell's friend, Bailey Hawkins. I think it's safe to say they're probably not friends now. Next, we're going to hear from another witness. So this is day 3. Megan Boswell's former friend, Caitlin Carter, recollected going out to eat with Megan and Evelyn, and she describes Evelyn as being dirty and says she could smell her from across the table. So this is just really sad to hear, because I do, Evelyn was just a beautiful child.
I just realized I called you Caitlin Jones. You are now Caitlin Carter. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I apologize. Okay, so you told the jury your name. Where do you live?
Kingsport.
Okay. Do you know the defendant, Megan Boswell?
Yes, ma'am.
And how do you know her?
We were friends in college.
Okay. And if you can, I'm going to ask you to maybe pull that microphone just a little bit closer. There you go. Thank you. You were friends in college. When you were in college or when she was in college?
When I was in college.
Okay. And when did you first meet her?
Middle school.
Okay. Did you continue to stay friends for middle school until you were in college?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Did you reconnect at some point?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And that was when you were in college, I guess?
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
So during that time, is that when you met Evelyn?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So that means you've met Evelyn in person?
Yes.
Okay. How many times do you think you have been around Evelyn?
4 or 5 times.
Okay. And are those times that when you were hanging out with Megan Boswell
Yes,
as
ma'am.
well? Okay. When you hung out with Megan, was Evelyn usually with her?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you ever recall seeing Megan when Evelyn was not with her?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And when was that?
The end of our friendship.
Okay.
Guys, watch what words you use in the chat, okay? Just use, you can take out a couple letters, but watch what words you use in the chat. Just, we're trying to keep this G-rated, but I also, want to stay in good standing with this platform also.
Which was when?
The 1st of December.
Okay. So then you're saying you saw Megan without Evelyn the 1st of December?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Prior to that, well, let me rephrase. Before, when you say the 1st of December, do you mean the first day of December or do you mean the first part of December?
The first part.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure we were clear on that one. Okay. So prior to the first part of December, do you recall ever seeing the defendant without Evelyn?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Do you recall going to Chili's with Megan Boswell at one point?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you remember when that was?
The end of my college semester.
Okay. And do you know when that would have been?
Around the 1st of December.
Okay. Who was there when you went to Chili's that day?
Me, Megan, and Evelyn.
Okay. Anyone else?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Did you sit at a table or a booth?
Booth.
Okay. And did you sit beside anyone?
No, ma'am.
So Megan and Evelyn were on one side of the table and you were on the other.
Yes, ma'am.
What was your impression of Evelyn that day?
She was dirty, and I could smell her across the table.
Okay. Have you been around babies before?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Was she beyond what a normal dirty baby would be?
Yes, ma'am.
So the defense doesn't like that, but she does get to testify about that. So on day 3, we also heard from Megan was in foster care for 1 year. I guess she wasn't going to school. And so her dad put her in foster care. I don't know what that was about. But she could have been showing signs of oppositional defiance disorder, which is what a lot of young people, teenagers, and even kids are diagnosed with before they're, because we don't diagnose young people under a certain age as being sociopathic or psychopathic. So, and when I say we, I'm talking about the United States of America, a psychologist, not me, myself personally, but Sue Whitson, who was Gail's sister, which is was the foster mother of Megan, testified that she used to babysit for Evelyn, and that when Megan dropped Evelyn off one time, she was dirty and had a terrible diaper rash and smelled like urine. So we're going to jump over to Randy Wood. Now, Randy Wood is the father of Hunter Wood. Hunter is the one that went with the family on the vacation that with their dad. He was the owner of Hunter T's Chicken Shack, and that's where Megan worked, and that's where Hunter worked. That's where they met. And apparently he is now in a mental hospital. So let me play that for you.
You're Randy Wood, is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. And Mr. Wood, where were you living back in 2019?
217 Sandy Point Drive in Bluntville,
All right. You said Bluntville. Was that in Sullivan County?
Sullivan County.
Okay. Just for context, kind of tell us where that's located. Where is
It's
that?
located in Barefoot Landing on the lake.
Okay. How by the lake out there?
Yes.
Behind
Behind the airport.
airport. Okay. All right. Now, we've heard some mention earlier in the trial about Preston Hunter Wood. Is he your son?
Yes, he is.
All right. Now, back in December of 2019, did you open a restaurant here in Bluntville?
I did.
All right. If you would kind of tell us what it was and what you were serving.
The name of it was Hunter T's Chicken Shack. I was the only owner of the place. It was right there on Highway 75.
All right. Where?
I sold roasted chicken.
Okay. Was it a sit-down restaurant?
No, it was a
or-
drive-through, just like Pal's.
All right. And it's over there right across kind of from Northeast State.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so this is Hunter's dad. He has to testify, and obviously they must have given permission to have his diagnosis of schizophrenia to come in. This, I think, was an effort to just, protect Hunter's reputation from somebody who's, is clearly at the very least allegedly a pathological liar.
Now, you mentioned you were the only owner. Did you have employees, people that worked for
Yes. Yes.
you? Okay. How many people? How many?
Well,
employees
let's
did
see.
you have?
We interviewed. We hired shows up the day you open up. So I probably had about 12 employees.
Okay. And who made the decision as far as who was being hired or not?
I did.
Okay. And one of those employees that showed up to apply for a job and work there, did you know Megan Boswell?
I didn't know her till she filled the application out. That's the first time I met her.
Okay. And did she apply for a job with you?
Yes.
And did you hire her?
Yes.
And do you see Miss Boswell sitting in the courtroom here today?
Yes.
If you would point her out and describe what she's
She's sitting
wearing.
right over there with the glasses on.
Judge, for the record, he's identified.
Is that good?
Record some play.
All right. Mr. Wood, do you remember what day you opened?
It was the first month of December, and it was the second.
Okay. Second day of December, is that 2019?
Yes.
All right. Was Miss Boswell working that day?
Yes.
Okay. And you mentioned you didn't have a whole lot of employees. Who was in charge of making the schedule and deciding?
Jason Brissett made the schedule and everything.
Okay. Was your son Hunter an employee there?
Yes.
All right. What did Hunter do?
He was mainly just an employee
Okay.
because Jason sort of run the place when I wasn't there.
All right. So Hunter and Megan worked there as co-workers.
Yes.
Did you work there at the restaurant? Were you there on a regular basis or?
Pretty much so, Yes.
Okay. So you,
So we're going to hear about Hunter because I just want to sort of dispel the rumor mill, and then we're going to dive into the guy that Megan's said was the father, but it turns out he isn't the father. So I don't know if we know who the father of Evelyn actually was. But let's continue on with Hunter's dad, because I just want to sort of clear up Megan has implicated so many people that, Hunter's in a mental institution. He has schizophrenia. Most schizophrenics don't harm anybody unless they're getting command hallucinations. So there's no evidence that Hunter did anything to Evelyn. The one that lied about where Evelyn was to everybody that would listen with different lies, more elaborate, even lied about the paternity to the man she said was the father, is Megan Boswell.
You saw Hunter and you saw Megan together at the restaurant. That's a fair statement.
Yes.
All right. Where was your son Hunter living at that time?
He was living with me at that time.
Okay.
Out there, out that lake. Yes, out there.
Did he have a vehicle that he drove then?
Yes, he had a Ford truck what he drove.
All right. At some point in time, did you realize that your son Hunter was in a dating relationship with Megan Boswell?
Well,
I think, he would be a good scapegoat, especially since he has schizophrenia. But I don't know when the schizophrenia began its onset. It may not have happened at this point. Remember, this trial took years. They took years to get to trial.
It's a weird situation, to be honest with you, because she got her car repoed.
Great question.
One day at the chicken shack.
Yeah, exactly.
And I made Hunter take her to the doctor that day. And, because she didn't have a ride.
Okay. All right.
So that's how they started running around together, because she didn't have a car.
Okay. So at some point in time, you realize they're dating.
Well, they was together a lot. Yes.
Okay.
You can say dating if you want to, or
all
together a lot. Yes.
Okay. And at some point in time, did she come to live at your house?
Well, she didn't have anywhere to go when they repoed the car. And apparently her father, what she said, kicked her out. So I let her come she stayed about 3 nights there.
So we know that's not true either. Her father didn't kick her out. She left a huge mess when she moved out, and her dad had to hire someone to clean it up. It was so bad.
That's all she stayed.
Okay. Were you aware that she had a small child?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever see Evelyn?
No, never saw the baby.
Okay. She never brought Evelyn to work there with her at the chicken shack?
When I hired her, because one of the questions is, do you have any kids? Because we work around schedules. Because you got a child, you can't work a lot of hours. So I asked her, she said, yes, I have a baby girl. I said, well, do we need to work around your schedule? She said, no, the baby daddy had the child. She said, I can work as many hours you want.
Okay.
And I said, okay.
So there's another lie, where she's claiming that, and then we're going to hear from the baby daddy, and he isn't even the baby daddy, but just wait for it.
Did she work a lot of hours?
She did work a lot of hours.
Okay. Now, you said she had stayed at your house. Did you ever bring Evelyn over?
The baby never was in my house.
Okay. Did she ever bring any high chairs or playpens?
No, nothing.
Diapers, baby bottles?
Nothing.
Okay. Did you ever see your son Hunter around?
No.
Okay. How?
Okay, so I hope this helps put an end to all the Hunter speculation. It's hard enough to have a son that, has schizophrenia or any type of impairment. Schizophrenia is, I think, one of the worst things, because we don't have any cures for it. But to then be impugned by somebody who's, lying pathologically, in my opinion, allegedly, don't come for me, over and over. Remember, she implicated him. She implicated her own mother. I mean, she implicated the quote unquote baby daddy, who turns out isn't the baby daddy. We're going to hear from him next. She implicated everybody. But the person at the center of this is.
How often did you see Hunter at that time?
Every day.
Is Megan.
Now, your son Hunter, Does he still live with you?
No, he started living with his mother, but he's at hospital at the moment.
Okay. He's at a hospital. Where is he in a hospital?
Marion, Virginia.
All right. Is that a mental hospital?
Yes.
How long has he been there?
2 months.
Okay. What, have you been up there to see him at that facility?
Yes.
What is his mental status this time?
Well, some days he's pretty decent. Other days he don't know who I am.
Okay. Would he be able to come into this courtroom and testify?
No.
Okay, so that pretty much sums it up. Sometimes he doesn't even know who his own father is. So should Hunter have to come in and defend himself from this? I don't think so. So now we're going to listen. We're going to listen to Ethan Perry. So he was another boyfriend of Megan's, and he testified he thought he was the father of Evelyn when he found out Megan was pregnant. He cooperated with authorities, but it's now being learned that he was not the father of Evelyn. Her lies are just, they go on and on and on. He's going to testify that he and Megan dated in high school. He was told by Megan that he was the father of Evelyn. He said he initially thought he was the father of Evelyn, but that he always had doubts. And he said that when he was stationed, so he's in the military in El Paso, Texas, Megan showed up at his hotel room unannounced. They spent 3 days together and he saw Evelyn. Then he said that he asked to see Evelyn in December of 2019, but she told him Evelyn was sick with the flu. And then in February, he gets a call from DCS asking him where Evelyn is. And the criminal investigators division at Fort Polk, where he was stationed, also began investigating him for hours. And he had to let them search his car, his barracks, and give DNA. And that's how they determined he wasn't even the father. So let's listen to him in his own words, you guys. I mean, her lies just go on and on and on. There's just so much to unpack here. Let me say hi to chat too. Yes, thank you so much for being here. Yeah, watch what words you guys use. Don't use the M word. Don't use the K word. Don't use, just watch what words you use. We're trying to keep this G-rated. I want people that if they have their kids or grandkids to be able to listen to this. I will give you guys a trigger warning. Lemon Line says, I hope his mental state doesn't cast doubt with the jury. I hope so too. And I think that's why the prosecution put his dad on the stand. That, he doesn't even know who his dad is. And this dad never saw Evelyn. Never saw Evelyn. And Hunter has been charged with nothing. His only crime is that he has schizophrenia. And we don't know when that onset happened. If that happened, because again, it usually happens during the college year. So it may not even, obviously nobody is saying that he was having symptoms when he was dating Megan. So it may not have onset for another year or two. Remember, this trial took years. This case took years to get to trial.
The middle telling us what happens first.
So this is Ethan. This is the ex-boyfriend who thought, until they found Evelyn and did a DNA test, thought he was the father of Evelyn.
Your investigation there by the Army.
So initially, I got contacted by my NCO in my company. He told me that.
Well, don't tell him what he said.
Okay.
Just tell us what happened to you as a result of.
Okay. I was contacted by CID. They wanted to set an appointment for after lunch, and so I went back to my barracks room, to get ready. Still had no clue what was going on until I got the call by DCS, and which they were asking about the whereabouts of Evelyn, and so. Which I gave the response. I don't know, all that.
Were you interviewed by interrogators there?
Yes.
For hours?
Yes.
Okay. Did you cooperate with them fully?
Yes.
Did you allow them to search your cell phone?
Yeah, search my cell phone, take DNA, search my barracks, and search my car.
Okay. So investigators searched the barracks looking for Evelyn?
Correct.
In Fort Polk, Louisiana?
Correct.
How humiliating to be in the military, be a young man, and then have investigators searching your barracks. searching your car, taking your DNA while you're in the military trying to do your job. I mean, because Megan was out for Megan and didn't care who she hurt in the process of throwing everybody else under the bus.
Was Evelyn there with you at your Army base there in Louisiana?
No.
Has she ever been there?
No.
With you?
No.
Okay. Did you cooperate fully with law enforcement in providing consent to search, provide DNA, anything else that was needed?
Absolutely. Everything that I could.
Okay. The only time you ever saw, well, when was the only time you ever saw Evelyn?
Was in El Paso.
Okay. That one time when Megan showed up?
Yeah, just out of the blue.
All right. Did you cooperate with law enforcement in determining the paternity of Evelyn Boswell?
Yes.
All right. Were you the biological father?
No.
Okay. All right. So the one and only time you see Evelyn is in 2019 before you came home for Christmas. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Perry. If you would answer any questions Mr. Scott has for you.
So, I mean, just unbelievable. She just keeps lying. So we're going to move on to day 4 now. So hopefully this we're getting real close to being caught up because we're only on day 5 of the trial. But the jury's shown on day 4, the jury's shown more Megan Boswell, February 2020 police interviews in which she tells law enforcement that she last saw Evelyn on December 26th of 2019 and left her with Ethan Perry. That's who you just heard testify. Ethan Perry, who was told he was the father. So she was telling everybody that Ethan had Evelyn. And then when they went to, and searched Ethan, searched his car, got a DNA test, then she said that it was her mother. And she just impugned person after person after person. She destroyed so many people's lives. Can you imagine the anxiety of this? So, and there was also an apartment application, which is entered into evidence in which Megan and her boyfriend, then Hunter Wood, as Megan indicated that she was pregnant and that there would be a third resident, and asked why Evelyn wasn't living with them. Megan said Hunter didn't want Evelyn to live with them. I don't even know if any of this is true. I have no idea. Let me just pull this up for you guys.
Trial, and we're hearing from law enforcement officers about what they found when they searched the Boswell family property back in February of 2020. They say they spotted Evelyn Boswell's remains stuffed in a trash can in Megan Boswell's old playhouse. Authorities believe Megan Boswell suffocated Evelyn in December 2019 with a blanket and aluminum foil wrapped around her head. Today, former TBI agent David Gratz opened evidence boxes to show jurors the aluminum foil, the trash can, and the clothing Evelyn was wearing when she died. We are not showing that footage. On Saturday, Gratz testified Tommy Boswell.
Okay. I do want to show his testimony, so let me grab it. But I don't want to show a whole bunch of it. So let me just grab this little bit. Okay.
Well, 88. Gonna ask that you again put gloves on.
Let me just fast forward a little
I'm
bit.
gonna let you now take it out and show the jury.
Okay, so trigger warning here. I'll put up 2 fingers when we're done. He is going to show the garbage pail and some other items of when Evelyn was found.
And if you can, try to, while you're displaying that to the jury, continue to display it, but try to also speak into the microphone so we can hear. There appears to be black residue on that trash can. Can you tell the jury what that's from?
Thank you. Yes, this trash can has gone under what I would say a significant analysis at this point. This black residue is going to be from the lab in Nashville placing dust on it in order to identify any fingerprints. Further, if I can set it down, if you can take a look around the rim and see how it looks irregular, that's not the way it looked that night.
When you say irregular, are you talking about the notches that are cut out?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, and you can see, I mean, there's tool marks where the lid of the trash can has been removed.
Okay. And so that is not how it looked when you took it into evidence that night?
Correct.
Okay. Are you aware of who took that off?
Yes.
Who took that off?
David Hoover at the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation lab in Nashville. He's a forensic scientist special agent.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're done with that exhibit, and I'm going to pass you.
Oh, the lid's down.
So the trash can was dusted for fingerprints. Obviously, if Hunter would have come up on that trash can, he would have been interrogated. Obviously, he did not. Well, we'll find out more tomorrow.
Pass to the next exhibit. Same thing, if you could just open it and see if you recognize it.
You can just see him getting upset, and his face, his mouth corners turned down. You can just see how disturbing this is for him. I feel really badly for law enforcement.
Okay, do you recognize that item?
Yes, I recognize this.
Okay, and what is it?
This was a piece of gum that was removed from the inside of the trash can that I just showed you.
Okay. And was that also taken into evidence?
Yes, this was processed into evidence that night.
Okay, we ask that be made exhibit number 197, please.
197.
And permission to publish, Your Honor. May I please see exhibit number 18? Okay. I'm going to show you a photograph that's already been admitted into evidence as exhibit 18. I'm going to try to zoom in for you. Okay. Do you see, and I know that's not the best zooming in, can you show the jury what you were just referencing for the exhibit we just entered?
This is the trash can that was inside the playhouse,
Okay.
and this is the piece of gum that we removed.
Okay. I can pass you the next.
I believe this is Officer David Gratz.
Okay. You have that one open?
Yes, I have it
Okay.
open.
And are you able to recognize what that is?
Yes, I am.
Okay. What is it?
This is a black trash bag that was recovered from the trash can that night.
Okay. And was that also taken into custody and sent to the TBI lab for analysis?
Yes, this was.
Okay. If we could ask that be made exhibit number 198, please. Can I have number 18 one more time? Sorry. Permission to publish to the jury, Your Honor. You could just take it out and you may want to stand up and show it to the jury so everyone can see it. And can you explain to the jury why parts have been removed from the bag that you're holding? I believe you're holding up part of that.
Yes, I am. Again, similar to the trash can, this has gone or undergone significant forensic testing. You can see the powder of the residue that would have been done at the Nashville lab. There is insect debris that we found in or on this trash bag. And this is a cutout that was done at the Nashville lab.
Okay. And where was that trash bag found?
Inside of the trash can at Muddy Creek.
You can go ahead and try to put it back in, and then I'm going to show you the same exhibit number 18.
So that's how law enforcement found Evelyn. She was in this trash can in this trash bag. They would have to have a DNA sample to match it to. So whoever was the father would have to come forward. They could upload it in CODIS. I don't know if at this point it's, if it really matters or not. Whoever it was, never knew. I don't know. They could have tried with some ancestry DNA type of sites too, and we just don't know about it, but not that we've heard so far. Amelia, good question.
Okay. Okay. Are you okay? Okay, sorry. Do you have that open?
Yes, it's open.
Do you recognize it?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
This is a Dasani water bottle.
Okay. Where was that located?
It was with the trash that we located that night in Muddy Creek.
Okay. And did you also take that into evidence?
Yes,
And was that item sent to the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation crime lab for analysis?
yes, it was.
We'd ask that be made exhibit number 200.
I suspect when we get to the Idaho 4 Brian Kohlberger trial also, I think there's going to be, if that happens, if they don't work out a plea deal, that we're going to see some very disturbing things as well. So I'll be doing a trigger warning for them. But if you're not watching, you can come back. I'm just going to fast forward a little bit. Because a lot of stuff he looks in.
Thank you. So you may need to stand. I'd just like the jury to see, for you to show them exhibit number 201, please.
Would you like me to unfold these pieces?
Okay, trigger warning, guys. I'll put a 2 up when you can come back.
Yes, please.
Trigger warning.
Agent Gratz, was it flat and folded like that when you removed the item from the victim?
No, if you can remember from the photographs, part of this was formed around Evelyn's head, and part of this was sort of still stretched out. At a later day, we pulled it all out to do the measurements in the photographs that you also saw on Saturday. And then I folded it back up for evidentiary processing purposes.
Okay.
So if she had just rolled over on her, like she claimed in one of her many interviews where she lied to law enforcement, why would you need to put tinfoil and then a blanket?
You're going to be like the record reflect. He's showing a second piece of foil at this time. Mm-hmm. Yes.
This is the third piece.
And we'd ask the record reflect. He's showing a third piece of foil.
So to be clear, the prosecution believes that Evelyn was placed in the trash can while she was still alive. Upside down with tinfoil around her head and a blanket.
These are various pieces that are essentially caked together.
We asked the record reflect you showing the jury smaller pieces as well.
This is another piece that's wadded up with material.
You'll have to speak up for the microphone. Sorry.
This is another piece that's wadded up that has some material on it.
Material, what do you mean?
This is going to be a combination of human.
Okay, so you guys can understand what that is. Let's just move forward a little bit. Again, I want to try to keep this G-rated. I'm just fast forwarding to the next part. Okay, the next part is going to be the onesie she was found in. So this next part is going to be the onesie that she was found in. So continued trigger warning.
Thank you.
Do you want me to fold it back up?
Yes, please. And try to maybe seal it back up into the box if you can, the best that you can after we fold it back up.
So I feel so badly for this, for any of the detectives that had to endure this. So this is, I believe this is David Gatz. So he's a former TBI agent, Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. He did show the jury multiple items, including the trash bag that Evelyn was found in. He showed the blanket. I didn't show that. The trash bag, the aluminum foil, and her penguin onesie. Now, the penguin onesie was wet. This is probably one of the only true things that Megan said was this was the last thing that she saw her daughter in. And of course, this is what she had on. Gratz also testified that law enforcement did search the Boswell property before March 6th, but didn't have a reason, and maybe they didn't have a warrant either, to search that playhouse. So anyway, we were curious as to why. So let me check in with chat. Yeah, so let me put a 2 up. Sorry, I forgot. Yeah, so we're gonna just kind of hold there for a second. That's a lot to take in. It really is. But I don't think I could sit through hours and hours of this either. But I do think it's important to just understand. I just really am hoping that this doesn't end up like the Casey Anthony trial where they get some reasonable doubt by using Hunter, because I just do feel like Megan's lies were just egregious. She implicated so many people and caused them duress in an effort to protect herself. And I just really, I do think it's important that we just, know that, beautiful young women and young men, handsome young men, can do terrible things. Can do terrible things. And, in this case, it's just absolutely horrific what she did. And, it's right up there with what Chris Watts did with Bella and Celeste and Shanann and the unborn child Nico. It's right up there with what Letitia Stock did with Gannon. And so since the Casey Anthony trial, we've seen this enough times that I hope that juries can get to the point where they could just reconcile the fact that somebody can be young, somebody can be nice looking, very nice looking, beautiful, handsome. Monsters, don't look like horrible monsters. They look like everybody else. They just look like the rest of us. I know a lot of people have had trouble reconciling Brian Kohlberger, and he's innocent until proven guilty, to what happened to the Idaho 4 students. There's people have had a really tough time. They just can't believe this. Somebody who looks so nice and seems so nice would do something like this. But I hope we're like getting to the point as a true crime community and part of the reporter room community where we just can reconcile that perfectly seemingly nice people are not always what they seem. That people do lie about stuff, and in this case, Megan lied a lot. She lied very well, and law enforcement had to continue to check out every lie that she told them. Right? She had to keep checking out every single lie that she told them. To make sure that, maybe there wasn't something being left out. So I can understand why a lot of people can't watch this case. I get it. I think I can empathize with that. And I just do want to say thank you to our producers and to our channel members. Thank you so much. If you would like to have your name appear in all of my videos and live streams just like this, just hit the membership button. I am going to be doing the live stream on Wednesday on the Brian Kohlberger case, and we're also having a Valentine's Day party on February the 14th, which will be a live stream. It's BYOB, obviously, because it's virtual, but we're gonna be doing a Valentine's Day party. So bring snacks, bring something you like to drink, and we'll be doing that at 5 p.m. I have some trivia games that we're going to play. I would also just like to extend my super thanks and coffee gratitude and gifted channel membership gratitude. Thank you so much, you guys, for all that you do and allowing me to cover some of these more niche cases that maybe normally wouldn't get covered. Let me just see if anybody has any questions. So what he unfolded was the tinfoil. There was multiple pieces. There were 3 that were folded up that she allegedly had wrapped Evelyn in, and then the little pieces had taped to them. So she taped it. Clearly, somebody taped it around Evelyn. I'm watching my words here. Yeah, that was wrapped very tightly, and then a blanket was wrapped around the tinfoil, and it was on her head. Yeah, can you imagine? I think that would make anybody just feel like, I can't do it. I can't take it. You could just see his face. And this is what I heard too from the law enforcement that went to the Idaho 4 student house, that it was traumatic. And the same thing happened in the Chris Watts case when they had to get Cece and Bella out of those oil tanks, and multiple investigators, including Tammy Lee, couldn't work another case after that. It was so upsetting. Yeah, this case was enough. Yeah, disregard for life. Definitely. I mean, I don't know how somebody could do something like that. DM says, a big thanks to the chat. Thank you for being so caring for a difficult life. Yeah, this is one of the harder cases. I don't know how people are like spending hours with it. But I did want to cover it because I just think it's really important to just emphasize that, because Casey Anthony was found not guilty, and, we had of everything except lying, we have to honor that, because that, there's no, in America, you don't get another bite at the apple, which is probably why it took a while to bring this case to trial. But yeah, very many faces. So thank you to all of our mods and our channel members. Thank you to all of you guys who took the time And yeah, Alicia says she did this 5 years ago, and to this day she shows no remorse. Exactly. Thank you to you, Amelia, and to NJAS for being our head mods. But thank you to all of our mods. Thank you to our channel members. Thank you to our subscribers. And so we'll be doing another Brian Kohlberger. That's less traumatic right now. But I think if this does go to trial, I think that I suspect, and Scott Reich agreed with me. He posted a video about an hour after my live stream last week. And he also, that I did on Friday, and he also felt like with the Brian Kohlberger case that maybe Ann Taylor was trying to work out a deal to get death penalty off the table. Now, I don't know if the prosecution is going to agree to a deal like that or not, because I would think they would have to get family members on board. I don't know for sure. This is just, an educated guess on my part, and an educated guess from a, but I think, why else would prosecution suddenly agree to have his mental records and his mental health records and his physical health records released to the prosecution if they weren't trying to cut some type of a deal? Because both the defense and the prosecution agreed initially that those would be sealed. So I think the fact that Ann Taylor's agreeing now means that maybe she's either planning to do mitigation in the event that he's convicted. But again, why release them now? So what I suspect is that behind the scenes, there may be some type of negotiation going on in an effort to cut a deal. Also this week in the Brian Kohlberger case, we're going to be getting the transcripts of the hearings. So I put the live stream for Wednesday. We'll be going through some stuff. Hopefully we'll be going through transcripts as well. Thank you, Veronica, so much. And again, I know this was like a hard one to do. It was a hard one. And I suspect, I haven't looked, but I suspect I'm deboosted right now on the platform. So I really appreciate you guys showing up. If you would like to share this in any of your chats, I feel like I've done the case properly. I didn't sensationalize it. I feel like I covered it with integrity, but just did try to drive home the fact that parents can do this, and we've all been going round and round with the JonBenet Ramsey case. I did a couple of 3 podcasts. I did, the different theories. I did a podcast on each of the theories, including the intruder theory. But I think, just in seeing yet another case like this come up, I just feel like I'm left with the thought that definitely family members can do this, and parents can do this to their children. So even though it was, not, and I'm not saying that JonBenet's parents did anything to her, but this is just speculation on my part, but it does show that family members can do things that we could never imagine, because we kept trying to understand why. Because if you understand why, you can understand who, right? In that case, we just keep going round and round. And it could have been an intruder. JonBenet did have a high enough profile. She was Little Miss Christmas that year. She had been in all these children beauty pageants. So it could have been somebody fixated on her. I mean, the Idaho 4 students, I don't think that Maddie, Kaylee, Ethan, or Xana even knew that BK existed. And he's innocent until proven guilty, but I don't even think they knew that he existed. So the Delphi case is another one where it's like people have, I think, we're not all going to agree on every case, and that's okay. But I have my feelings on that case and why I have feelings on that case. But it's really hard to reconcile that somebody that looks nice can do terrible things, but yet here we are. So with that said, please consider subscribing to Reporter Room if you would like to have coverage where I am covering, in a non-sensational way. Please consider subscribing. I will try to bring you things that I think are interesting, I think are helpful to understand true crime and why people do these things. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you on Wednesday with Brian Kohlberger. I'll see you next time. Bye.